Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Teena Jha, you're watching Perspective. From repelling Pakistan's misadventures at the border to dismantling Naxal strongholds in Chhattisgarh, the Indian security forces have sent a clear message. Whether the threat is external or internal, the response will be swift, strategic and strong. In a major operation against Naxalism, our security forces eliminated 31 Naxalites on the Karreguttalu hill at the Chhattisgarh-Telangana border. Union Home Minister Amit Shah hailed it as a historic breakthrough in the resolve of a Naxal-free India. He lauded the forces for their bravery and precision in completing the 21-day operation without any casualties among the security personnel. In a social media post, he said that the Kurigulu hill, which was once ruled by Red Terror, now proudly hoists the tricolour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, "This success of the security forces shows that our campaign towards rooting out Naxalism is moving in the right direction. We are fully committed to establishing peace in the Naxal-affected areas and connecting them with the mainstream of development." So according to details available, the anti-Naxal operation, which took place from 21st of April this year to the 1st of May, targeted the core Maoist stronghold in the Karreguttalu hills, dismantling one of the most fortified red zones in the region. The eliminated Naxalites collectively carried a bounty of 1 crore 72 lakh on their heads, highlighting the scale and strategic value of this crackdown. So in this edition of Perspective, we'll focus on how Operation Kurigulu is a major step towards our resolve to become a Naxal-free India by 2026. Joining us are two distinguished guests. So let me begin the program by introducing them to you. I'm delighted to welcome on this edition of Perspective, Mr. Dilip Trivedi, former DG CRPF. Mr. Trivedi, thank you very much for your time. Welcome to the program. Also joining us is Mr. Pathikrit Payne, Senior Research Fellow, Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee Research Foundation. Dr. Payne, glad to have you with us on this telecast as well. Mr. Trivedi, allow me to begin the program today with you, and because the CRPF plays a key role in our anti-Naxal operation in Chhattisgarh, the first question related to this breakthrough that our security forces have achieved in our anti-Naxal operation. It's a severe blow to the Naxalites. So help us and our viewers understand what made this operation particularly challenging and strategically significant.
Well, no doubt it is a stupendous success, and achieving success in that area, which is a heavily forested area, where you are up against people who are the local natives who know that place like the back of their hand. You have threats of IEDs, improvised explosive devices, being planted everywhere. You don't have a regular system of informants. You do not have a the availability of electronic intercepting electronic messages. So given all these handicaps, when you're able to make a success like this, it definitely involves a lot of planning on the ground. It involves a lot of hard work. It involves the security forces actually having to cover the ground physically through this dense forest and mined area. So all in all, it's a very, very challenging kind of a situation in which this has been achieved, for which I must really congratulate the CRPF and its men for the efforts that they have made.
So on the tactical front, Mr. Trivedi, if I may also ask you before we proceed, what have some of the changes been in recent years resulting in this kind of a success rate, this kind of a breakthrough? Because this perhaps has been one of the biggest anti-Naxal operations, and it has marked tremendous success now for our security forces, which is a significant milestone towards taking us to our 2026 goal, which is to make India Naxal-free. So tell us about what has changed on the ground in terms of how we are operating on the ground.
Well, you see, I think it's a series of cumulative actions taken over the past many years. To understand why we have achieved this success, you have to go into the fact that why did the Maoists choose this area for their operations? It was not their natural habitat. As all of us know, Naxalism is a product of Bengal and Andhra Pradesh, present-day Telangana. So what has happened is that these forces united and they formed there was a People's War Group and there was the CPIM Lenin faction led by Vinod Mishra in the Bihar and Bengal. They all got together, and then when they realized that the best area that they can operate is from this area, which is the Chhattisgarh axis of Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and Jharkhand, which is a heavily forested area. And also, you must keep in mind that these states, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, were carved out of Madhya Pradesh and Bihar. And obviously, they did not have the policing resources to begin with. Odisha, in any case, was a very backward state with very little policing. The only state having some formidable amount of policing in this area was Andhra Pradesh, earlier Andhra Pradesh, now Telangana. So they chose this area, which is Abujmad and the Dandakaryan area, because of the fact that here there was no police presence, there was no infrastructure of the government existing inside. And if you have been in those areas, you will realize that it was a highly tribal area, which till the British times, you needed actually a permit to go into these areas. You could not go into these areas. Right. A normal man could not go into the areas. The idea was to let the tribals lead their normal life, which they lead in these areas. So given this background, the Maoists selected this area thinking it's a safe area where they'll be able to operate with impunity. They'll be able to recruit from the local tribal people who are ignorant of the facts of the world and exploit them with these issues of the contractor making money out of them through the tendu leaf and all the mining areas and other things. So given by itself, it was a very area which was had very little policing. So over the last 10, 15 years, what has happened is that the police forces in these states have grown. They have grown in strength, they have grown in armaments, they have grown in equipment, they have grown in their capabilities to strike back. Initially, it was left only to the Central Armed Police Forces, mostly CRPF, along with BSF and ITBP, to police these areas. But when the local police started getting more and more, started strengthening themselves, then in conjunction with these forces, they are now able to achieve this kind of a success. Because eventually it is the local police which is able to actually get humanity, which is very important because they have their deep links within the local people. So they are able to get this intelligence, provide the information, and and then all the security forces combined together can hit these Maoists. One is that. Second is, over the period of time, amongst the local tribals, there has been disenchantment with the cause of the Maoist. So many of the former so-called Maoists have also turned as informers within the forces, and many of them have joined the police forces in these states. So now a vast network of information is available to strike. Secondly, we have also established forward bases into these areas. We have taken the CRPF camps into the most remote areas and set them up in these villages. So now it is easy to even get the support of the local people in these operations. I think now almost everywhere this is functioning. And also we have been able to build a network of roads. So when the people are in communication from the deep interiors with the rest of the state, then also it helps in these anti-insurgency operations.
Absolutely. I think operational landscape, you've rightly said how it has changed in terms of mobility, in terms of logistics, also in terms of the night operations in the dense forest. But if we talk about this particular operation, what's been remarkable is that it was a big operation, 21-day long, and targeted at eliminating perhaps the leadership among the Maoists. The success is quite remarkable also because there have been no casualties. A few personnel got injured. You were seeing visuals of Home Minister Amit Shah actually paying them a visit at the AIIMS Trauma Center in New Delhi. But Mr. Payne, coming to you for your perspective, and because we've been talking about the plan and the policy of the Indian government, which has in a way changed how we operate in these dense forests and how we embolden our fight against Naxalism. How would you assess the current plan and policy of this government, and how or what makes it stand out in our fight against Naxalism?
Namaskar Teena Ji, and namaskar to Dilip sir. See, let me tell you, the most important aspect of what is happening now is the political will of the central government. And there is a very high level of synergy between the central police forces as well as the state level police forces. Third, a very critical part is the level of money that has been spent in terms of modernization of the state level police forces, development of local infrastructure. Dilip ji mentioned about development of the forward operating base. If you see what used to happen earlier, probably a decade back, is that the central police forces used to go for operations and they had to come back to their own camps again after the operation was done. Right. Now, wherever they go, they actually set up their base. So they don't. So area domination is a very critical part. Fourth, look at this. Most of these operations nowadays are intelligence based. They're not just going blindly in a region. There is a, CRPF itself has set up its own intelligence wing. I think the IB has been doing a phenomenal work. The state level police forces have been empowered, given money to develop their own information network, as Dilip ji also mentioned. Then there is a very critical role being played by NTRO. The surveillance by drones that are being done by NTRO plays a very critical role in terms of pinpointing the locations. That is a very critical part. Fifth, if you look at how it stands out, if you look at what happened in the year 2010, when in Dantewada there was a massacre of CRPF Jawans, where 75 Jawans were literally butchered. The most unfortunate thing that used to happen that time is that while on one hand the forces were fighting the Maoists, which was even then the biggest internal security threat, you would see those times the Maoist sympathizers were used to come on television and romanticize and justify Maoism. That thing is gone. So till the time you take away romanticization or justification of any kind of terror act, you would not be able to win that war. That is a very, very big change. And apart from that, you would also see that today there is a clear-cut objective that this has nothing to do with welfare of the poor people. That was the way Maoist sympathizers used to window dress. So what has happened is this: you have designated it as nothing more and nothing less than terrorism, and there is a concerted effort to actually get it completely neutralized. And let me tell you, there are external elements who actually fund this. Another important point, and I'm sure Dilip ji will agree to it, without any disregard to the fact that there has been an enormous amount of sacrifice by the CRPF primarily. If you look at the Sukma road, for the construction of that Sukma road, where the CRPF became the contractor because nobody else was willing to make it.
Yes.
The number of Jawans who had to give their life, but at the same time, if you see in most of the places, it is the locals who have joined the forces. For example, in case of Chhattisgarh, in DRG, District Reserve Guard, or the Special Task Force, they are the ones who are son of the soil. They know the terrain. They are at ease. And their coordination with Cobra battalions or the other battalions of CRPF has reached a level where that comfort level, imagine 4 or 5 separate organizations working together to actually, deliver this kind of result. You would have the state level police forces, including the elite anti-Maoist units. You would have the central police forces, including the CRPF, somewhere it is ITBP and BSF. And I think there is this conviction of the central government. Probably during the UPA era, also operations were happening. But I still strongly believe that time that conviction was lacking. Somewhere it was like, okay, we must fight Maoism, but Maoism is somewhere, they are poor people, cannot go on. There has the kind of atrocities, human rights violation that the Maoists have done on the tribals. I mean, that history has to come out. But my last issue, Teena Ji, just give me 10 more seconds. I strongly agree and I support and I believe that by 2026 March, we will be able to eradicate Maoism. But the core poison of this ideology is still being spread in the universities. There are certain universities, there are certain departments, there are certain professors who still actually propagate those ideas. So you have to have a clear-cut, restriction on what is being taught in the universities of India. That part is very important. Last but not the least, we cannot undermine or discount the role played by NIA in terms of unearthing the front organizations, in terms of cutting down the funding of the Maoist entities, in terms of ensuring that the money laundering networks they had to channelize money or explosives, that is, that dismantling part is equally important. So this battle that you see with success, massive success, one battle is being fought in the forest, the others are being fought in the cities in terms of creating disconnect between the money which is being flown here and invariably there's an enormous amount of patience, investment, conviction, political will, which has been shown definitely by the central government and the state governments as well. There is a consensus among the states that this must go. Today, I don't think the CRPF or any central police person.
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I don't think anybody needs a permission to move from one state to another for any operation. There was a time there used to be a lot of administrative problems. So overall, it's a great thing, and I'm sure it will give the kind of result that we are looking forward to.
You made quite a valid point on the financial network being disrupted in the last few years. And Mr. Trivedi, if I may ask you, in the first question, we addressed how there has been a shift in our policies in terms of our actions in enhancing our operational capabilities on the ground. But has there also been a shift in the way the Maoists operate, and have you observed any shift in pattern in the way they are now funding themselves? And I ask you this because the numbers are quite interesting. 85% of Naxal cadre has been eliminated in Chhattisgarh. Top multiple leaders have been neutralized. So what are the tactics and capabilities on the ground that has changed for them, which are resulting in at least these numbers in favor of the security forces?
Well, let me again begin with when I have worked in these areas as DG CRPF, both in the regime of the UPA government and in the regime of the present government.
Yes.
I was DG in 2013-14, so I've seen this entire thing. As a matter of fact, we undertook the 2014 elections, and the 2013 elections happened in this area and during my time. So I've seen both the regimes. So I do not agree with the fact that any government was trying to say don't take action or somebody else. Every government was very firmly committed in removing this menace. And what happened really was that, as I said, the capabilities grew. If you see 2012, 13, 14, the local police did not have the strength, they did not have the resource, they did not have the arms and the ammunitions to take on these people. That's it. That's exactly why the central forces were brought in here into this. And over the years, what has happened is that we have steadily increased our capabilities. We have also understood when you take on an adversary, then obviously you start understanding the methodology and this modus operandi and their ways of working. That after analyzing all that, we were able to, sharpen our areas of where we need to attack, how we need to attack, how we need to plan. And the biggest achievement was shifting forward bases, a process which began as far back as 2013-14. To start moving camps inside the interiors of these areas. And presently, I don't think there is any area. Earlier, the entire Abujmart area was a no-go area. There was no police camps inside. Today, you have police CRPF camps in almost every important area in that there. Secondly, you see there was no communication by road because there were no roads. And over the years, the infrastructure is built. Now I believe even the mobile towers are coming in that area. So communication is also becoming more easy, for the forces to communicate and do that. Resources were pumped in, like helicopters were given to the CRPF, the night vision devices were provided to them, all kind of, I don't want to go into many of those other areas because like we had surveillance through using other sister agencies, aircrafts to do surveillance in those areas. I would not like to go into too many of the technical things because it might also hamper the operations going on. But what I'm trying to say is that the capabilities definitely will not increase in one day. They will increase over a period of time. Absolutely. And that is what has happened. Right? Over a period of time, the capabilities have increased so much that we are able to do this kind of make this kind of an achievement.
Mr. Trivedi, what we're seeing is, and each time there is a breakthrough and in terms of what we achieve in our fight against the Naxals, the coordination is key. This time as well, we've seen how it was a coordinated effort by multiple agencies. If you could help us and our viewers understand how we've tried to bring everyone together as far as a coordinated effort is concerned in dealing with Naxals, because there are so many agencies which are involved, right from CRPF to the STF, the ED, the NIA, the state police, and as well as the civil administration. So when there are so many groups involved, how do you ensure that the coordination efforts are seamless?
So exactly. Now, what happened was that when this problem became quite out of proportion, the MHA created the post of a joint secretary Naxal in the ministry. Now, this person, joint secretary Naxal, was the key person who was involved in coordinating all the agencies. So, always sitting in North Block, he had the access to all the agencies, and all the agencies were in touch with him. So that was one big coordination point from where this took off. And then, as things moved, the forces synergize amongst themselves also, you see, because if it is BSF, CRPF, or it is local police, when you are working together over a period of time, your synergies start to develop on a personal rapport. So as I've been saying continuously, that it is a process, it's a process, which takes place over a period of time. So it was this process. And to add to all these other agencies, the law enforcing agencies, there came into play the civil agencies. Then the CPWD and these agencies got into the act by building roads, and the local government also started getting into the act by setting up these mobile towers, setting up allowing people to give the freedom for them to move into these areas. So it was a coordinated effort of a lot of law enforcing agencies as well as civil agencies. And as this coordination is improving day by day, you will find that this problem of the Maoist problem will go away in a short while.
I think you're right. This coordination is what has resulted in results which have helped us in eliminating these extremist groups. But also, Mr. Payne, if I may come to you to understand, the fact that these coordinated efforts over the years have also resulted in a significant number of extremist groups members surrendering. So I think around 8,000 Maoists have surrendered in just the past decade. How effective are our de-radicalization programs? What are we doing to effectively rehabilitate these people who have surrendered? And at the same time, what has been our policy in successfully reintegrating these people into the mainstream?
Well, Teena Jha, let me first say that one of the biggest tasks that has been executed by this government in the last few years is that there has been a lot of action taken on many NGOs with questionable integrity. Many of these NGOs had a free run in the Maoist dominated regions, and they were the ones who were actually spearheading the radicalization. Today you don't see an Arundhati Roy nowadays going and taking interviews of Maoists and then showing it in many of the TV channels. That part was very important to have a crackdown on the NGOs who in the name of NGOs was actually hampering operations, was actually poisoning the innocent tribals. Secondly, if you see the intelligence wing of CRPF, Dilip ji would know better than me, which was sanctioned probably a year back. It has seen, the moment it got activated, it played a very critical role in terms of ensuring more and more people surrender, because eventually any problem would have to have a socio-political solution. That part has been taken care of. There is a very comprehensive rehabilitation program. Many are actually being rehabilitated, being brought into the mainstream. You also have to, that's the reason I strongly support what is being done, because the objective is not just to kill anybody or kill any and everybody. The objective is that we would give you an option to come back to the mainstream. If you take that option, they are being given money to start life all over again, probably even with a small business of their own. And the reason why I stayed with responsibility, that there was a dichotomy in the past. I must mention in the year 2010 in Dantewara, where that massacre of CRPF Jawans happened, in one of the top universities of India, which is based in Delhi, there were celebrations that were happening among the students from a particular student union, the ones who are extremely pro-left. Now, when you have that kind of an ecosystem being built in the cities of this country, where students are celebrating the killing of CRPF Jawans, you don't see that is happening today. And that is where I see a lot of change happening, and the dichotomy is gone. I agree with Dilip ji. No government will come and say that, no, do not take action against Maoists. But there was a time when these NGOs had a free run. There was a time when the universities could actually celebrate the killing of CRPF Jawans. That era was dangerous because it was creating confusions in the minds of people as to whether Maoism is good or bad. You
That's
cannot
right.
have
And
good
perhaps I
terrorism
think
back
what
then.
we've done in the last few years has been significant in shaping our counter-Maoist strategy, bearing and yielding results in our favor. But if I may also talk about some of these challenges that Dr. Payne mentioned, Mr. Trivedi, what would be some of the biggest challenges that you think still remain on our road to becoming a Naxal-free country by 2026, and especially in context of our preparedness in dealing with any kind of resurgent or splinter groups as well?
Well, one is that I must clarify that the intelligence setup is not 1 year old or 2 years old in CRPF or activated recently. The intelligence wing in the CRPF is as old as the CRPF. So it's an inbuilt thing in the whole system. So one is that. Second is that when these forces spread out into these, as I said, they've spread out into almost every nook and corner of the state. They are able to get in touch with the local people and also provide them some facilities like medical facilities, help in setting up schools. A lot of schools in the interiors were closed by the Maoist. You see, any development work in that area was obstructed by the Maoist, because if there's development, it will automatically lead to collapse of the Maoists in that area. So they were trying to prevent all that. They were blowing up mobile towers. They were blowing up the roads. They were planting IEDs on the roads. They were threatening the contractors of who would build the roads. They were threatening the bus drivers. They were killing them. So the entire thing focus was to keep that area in a non-developed state, keep it the way it is, and don't let the tribals get influenced by the outside world. But now what has happened with everything opening up so much and with this development taking place, so it's obviously, I think, the biggest way to prevent resurgence of this kind of activity is to ensure that development in these areas goes on in the pace that it is going on. We need to develop those areas. We need to integrate them fully with the rest of the country. Just to give you an example, if you go into these areas, especially Jagdalpur and those areas, you will find that in the district headquarters there are big gates. So when I went there for the first time, I asked them, what are these huge gates for? So they said earlier, to go across from these gates into the interior, you needed a permit from the collector. So those kind of things prevented any kind of development taking place in this state. And if you take that entire region, it was a economically and socially, and it was an isolated part from the rest of the country where these tribals were living, which gave the opportunity to the Maoists to influence them and to win them over to join their cadres. Now, to prevent this, is the biggest thing is to continue with the development program. Make sure that that those people living in these areas get integrated with the rest of the state and the country. They learn to come out. They start finding jobs outside. They can provide information of what is going on in the world to the other people of their communities. Get those people to understand that it's a new world. It's not the world that they had imagined that they had been living in for so many years. So that is how we need to combat this, by increasing development in that area and allowing more and more movement of normal people also into that area.
So I think a whole range of efforts, and perhaps that fine balance between security and development, which has perhaps resulted in this kind of change that we are witnessing. But nevertheless, what's important is that this historic breakthrough, the Operation Kurigulu, marks a pivotal moment in India's decades-long journey against Naxalism, also strengthening our resolve to make our country Naxal-free by next year, which is by March 2026. But I must also say that the 2026 goal is not just about eliminating the threat of Naxalism, it's also about transforming the lives of those who've lived under its shadow for decades. So hopefully, with the efforts that we've made in recent years and through sustained efforts in the times to come, we will be able to achieve this goal by next year. That having said, I have to wind up the program. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the program, sharing your thoughts with us and our viewers. And to your viewers, thank you very much for your time as well.
To watch more programs of Sansad TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to like and share them.